If you've never changed a watch strap before, I can honestly understand why that might sound intimidating. One slip of that tool and that watch could be scratched forever. The good news is you don't need expensive tools. You don't need a watchmaker at all. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to change any watch strap in just a few minutes. Now you might be asking yourself, why would I need to learn how to change my watch strap? It's been on there for years, it works, I'm happy with it, and I don't really want to take the risk of changing out the strap altogether. That may be so for that specific watch, but there are many times where I've come across watches in my collection that I thought that I was done with and I wanted to move on, but after I changed the strap on the watch, it gave it a brand new life. I actually got excited about it all over again, like when I first purchased it. And it gives me that diversity of when I have different situations, I could still wear the same watch, even though I'm doing a different activity. You see, a new strap can make an old watch feel brand new. It's much cheaper than buying another watch, and you can dress one watch up or down, whether it's leather for work, rubber for summer, NATO for casual wear, or bracelet for every day. Once you learn this skill, you'll probably change straps all the time. So here's all the tools that you're gonna need. A spring bar tool, a microfiber cloth, good lighting, a small tray for parts, and optional would be using some masking tape to protect the lugs. The lugs on a watch are those parts that hang off on the top and bottom that are actually holding the spring bar in place, which holds whatever strap that you want to have on it. The spring bar kind of acts like the toilet paper roll that you have where there's two springs at the end. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a spring inside of a bar, and those are the things that you have to manipulate to take out of the watch. Now, one thing that I recommend is that when you're changing your strap, especially for the first time, you want to check the condition of that spring bar, because if you see any rust or if it's not operating the correct way where it's not springing back out, you want to change that out, and you can do so very affordably. These are things you can buy a whole set and range of different sizes, and it's worth changing out because that is going to make or break whether or not that strap on your watch is going to stay there securely. Also keep in mind that spring bars are very tiny and they love to launch across the room, so you want to be working over a table and you want to have something maybe in front of you in case that does spring off and it shoots out. It will go very far, and if it happens to you, congratulations, you just joined the club. Now there are a bunch of different type of straps that are out there, so we're going to go over a few of the more common ones. Leather straps use spring bars. They're usually the easiest to deal with. Rubber has a similar process, sometimes thicker. Bracelets also use spring bars, and the end links can make the removal a little bit more trickier. They do have usually a space where there's a cutout underneath, knowing that you can't manipulate the sides. So when you see and you flip your watch over and you're looking at that bracelet, you can identify the spaces on either side and choose which side you want to remove from that bracelet first. Now, NATOs are nice because it doesn't require removing spring bars to swap out once installed. It slides straight through the watch. But at the end of the day, all of these straps do require a spring bar in some type of fashion, and I'm going to explain to you the difference between a regular spring bar and a quick release spring bar. Quick release spring bars are really nice and convenient. They have a sliding lever on there. It has a small knob that you can catch with your finger, and you don't require a tool to remove it. So if you have the option when you're buying straps, try and see if there's an option available to have that, because it just makes swapping out straps a lot easier, and you could pretty much do that on the fly. Versus the conventional spring bar where you're going to be required to use a tool, and I definitely recommend that you do so because these parts are very small, and those spring bar tools are utilized to get in between those cracks and crevices without the potential of you scratching the watch. Place the watch on a microfiber cloth. Optional tape can be used on either side of the lug. I recommend using the masking tape on top of the lugs because in between that space, you're never really going to see it unless that's your thing and you really don't want to scratch your watch at all. You can tape up as much as you want and whatever you want to protect. I personally don't use masking tape. I'm comfortable removing it without it, and I don't mind scratches on my watches. But the biggest visual eyesore, if you're worried about scratches, is if you scratch the lugs on the opposite side or on the bottom side of it, because that part's going to show a lot more. Take your time, work slowly when you do this, never force anything, and inspect the spring bars for its condition after removing it. If you're getting in between that space and you feel any resistance and it's not coming out, you shouldn't be using a lot of force to remove it. They are reactive when you have the tool placed correctly on that spring bar. So chances are, if it is rusted, it may be worth taking to a watchmaker at that point. But the point is, you don't want to use too much force because that's when you could potentially slip and scratch the watch. Hold the watch securely, locate the spring bar shoulder, compress the spring bar, gently remove the strap inward, and then slowly lift away. Some common mistakes that folks make when they're doing this for the first time is trying to pry that spring bar out or try to twist it using too much force. Just try to reenact what you're seeing here in the video, and it should be a lot easier trying to get that removed. Once you have that fully removed, insert one of the first sides to the new strap that you're trying to install, compress the opposite side, guide it into the lug, listen for the click, and then gently pull. If it moves, it's not installed. If it stays, you're okay. Another very common mistake, and this happens all the time, I still to this day sometimes make this mistake when I'm not paying attention, but you can put the wrong strap on the wrong side and there is a correct orientation, especially when you're using specific straps. The buckle side goes at the 12 o'clock and the long slack side of the strap gets installed at the bottom at the 6 o'clock position. This is important when you're wanting to strap this back onto your wrist, because if you have it the wrong way, it's not going to fit right. So if you do the mistake of putting them the wrong way, just simply uninstall them and then just correct that. Now, when you're ready to go out there, make your purchase of what strap you want to use. Just keep in mind that straps are not one size fit all. And the most common size for straps are 18 millimeters, 20 millimeters, 22, and 24 millimeters. I would say 20 millimeters is the most popular size. That and 22 millimeters is probably going to be the two that you're going to be looking for, but you have to measure that space in between the lug to lug to identify which size strap that you need. And I recommend buying yourself calipers, or you can use a regular ruler to see what measurement fits correctly. It's going to be a little bit smaller than the strap size that you're buying, because at the end of the day, the strap has to fit in between that space. So for example, a 20 millimeter might come out to be actually 19.6 millimeters, but when you're in the market to buy, you're buying a 20 millimeter strap for a 20 millimeter lug space opening. The manufacturer knows to make it a little smaller. And as I mentioned before, different strap materials can change the personality for your watch altogether. You have leather, you have rubber, NATO, mesh, stainless steel bracelet. So you're not changing the watch, but you're kind of changing its personality. So for the final check to see if you installed this correctly and that spring bar is matching in between that space that it's supposed to be in, after you install that new strap, you want to pull gently downward to make sure it's not sliding off. Put the watch on your wrist and have some tension from that strap on your wrist to make sure that that's really secure. I've had times where that spring bar wasn't fully into that socket, it was only partially, so it felt like it was ready to be worn, but it wasn't actually into position. The last thing that you want is that watch falling off your wrist, falling onto the ground and possibly shattering the watch altogether. So doing this spot check is very important. Now you know how to safely change almost any watch strap. It's one of the easiest skills every watch owner should learn. And once you go out there to see what straps are available for what watch, you'll be surprised. Even my F91W can have a leather strap change to it, which completely changes its personality and its dynamic on wrist. But as always, I appreciate you guys for spending your most valuable asset, which is time. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one.
Most valuable asset, which is time. Every second matter, every move stay prime. Horology in the golden chrome. I build my day like a watch and on. Mr. Santana, check the wrist. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, like this. Most valuable asset, which is time. Every second count.